The objective of this presentation is to show how Pacent's unique spiraling assessment process works, how we use this process to report valuable information to students and parents, and how students and parents can access their performance information on their online Pacent account. At Pacent, we believe frequent assessment is the cornerstone to meaningful feedback to students, parents, and teachers. Students using the Pacent program are evaluated each week. They receive scores on concept rather than the traditional approach where students may receive a grade on an entire quiz. This allows the teacher and the student to celebrate any success that students are having in class, as well as identify the areas that students need to work on. All students will receive up to 3 attempts to master each concept over a 3-week time period. This reduces anxiety students may have engaging subject matter that they may not feel that comfortable with. This is an example of what a student could possibly see in week 1. The student receives a score on adding and subtracting whole numbers and multiplying whole numbers. Each test also has an extra credit multiple choice problem as the last problem. As you can see, this student has not yet mastered either concept. But not to worry, students in the Pacent program will receive multiple attempts to change their grade. It is important that assessment provides an opportunity for students and parents to engage the learning process. Students in the Pacent program receive a weekly report that shows how they have performed on each concept. This report also lets students and parents know how many attempts they have had and how many attempts they have left to improve their scores on any given concept. Here is the view of what the parent and student would see on their weekly report after test 1. The student has 2 grades for each of the concepts assessed on the first test. If the world were to end tomorrow, this student would have a 2 out of 4 on adding and subtracting whole numbers and a 2 out of 4 on multiplying whole numbers. Luckily, this student will get another chance. Here's an example of the following week's test. They're going to see topics from the first test again for the second time. The questions are slightly different from the previous week, but the concepts are the same. Week 2 also has 2 new concepts that they're seeing for the first time. This student has received their first 4 on adding and subtracting whole numbers, but is still struggling with multiplying whole numbers. The idea behind our spiraling assessment program is to celebrate student successes when they occur and identify areas of improvement. This is what the weekly report would look like after the scores from test 2 have been entered. As you can see, the student has received their first 4 on adding and subtracting whole numbers, and their grade has changed from a 2 to a 4. At Pacent, we believe in celebrating mastery when reached. We take the student's best score during the testing period of a particular concept. But in order to get an A, or 100% on a concept, we feel the student needs to demonstrate mastery twice. If you look closely, you will notice that the student currently has an 80% on adding and subtracting whole numbers. At the end of a testing period, all of our concepts are graded out of 5 possible points. In order for this student to get a 100% on adding and subtracting whole numbers, they will need to get a 4 at least one more time. Here's an example of test 3. This is the last attempt this student will have to get a 4 on either adding and subtracting whole numbers or multiplying whole numbers. They are seeing week 2 concepts for the second time and will also be evaluated on week 3 material for the first time. For the remainder of the year, this is the format of the weekly tests, consisting of 3 weeks of material. Fortunately, the student has received their second 4 on adding and subtracting whole numbers, but is still struggling with multiplying whole numbers. Next week, these concepts will fall off the weekly test and be part of our integrated after-school intervention program. We want to celebrate student success whenever it occurs. Once the scores from test 3 are entered into the database, the student and parent can see how their second 4 on adding and subtracting whole numbers changes their grade from a 4 out of 5 to a 5 out of 5. 100% double mastery. The student has now been assessed 3 times in class on week 1 concepts. The first attempt on test 1, the second attempt on test 2, and the last attempt the following week on test 3. After the 3 in-class attempts, students that have yet to receive a 4 on either adding, subtracting whole numbers or multiplying whole numbers are invited to attend a before-school or after-school intervention program that will occur the following week. Pacent's philosophy on intervention is that it should target specific areas where students are struggling and should allow a student to impact their overall grade. Pacent intervention occurs each week and targets the concepts that have just fallen off the weekly spiraling assessment. Any student that is yet to receive a 4 on the particular weekly concepts are encouraged to attend, and if they choose to attend, they will receive another attempt at mastery. A student that chooses not to attend will not receive another attempt at mastery and essentially is chosen to accept the grade they have on the given concept. We feel this encourages the student and parent to engage and take ownership of the learning process. Students that attend the Week 1 intervention program will receive instruction on all Week 1 concepts. After an intensive lesson, students will receive a test such as this one to attempt mastery one more time. Once again, if the student chooses not to attend the intervention program, they cannot receive a fourth attempt. As you can see, this student chose to attend the intervention program, received a fourth attempt, and finally got their first 4 on multiplying whole numbers. Reports may show additional information as well. Teachers may choose to use this report to show student performance on homework, classwork, or any other possible grading categories. Teachers can also show a summary of students' assignments and may choose to show any missing assignments. At the bottom of the report, there may be a comment from the teacher as well. Parents and students have access to their performance data online as well. Our website can be found at www.mypacent.com. Each student has a login that is provided by the teacher. At any time, a teacher can reset the student login and provide you with a new username and password. Once you have logged in, you will be asked to enter personal information as well as create a username and password to your liking. After doing this, you should be all set and have real-time access to your students' performance. To access your students' spiraling math performance, you can either click on Classes and select their math period or click on the math class in the report card table. You will see an overall summary of your students' performance in the top table that will show you how they are doing in the specific grading categories. As you can see here, the page automatically defaults to showing you the performance on the spiraling assessment program, and this data should look like what you see on your weekly reports. For a more detailed view of each category, you can scroll down and select the specific category you wish to view for a more detailed view of homework or classwork. Thank you for your time. If you wish to find out more about Pacent, please visit us at www.pacent.org. Thanks again.